The space station Narita 7 floated at the edge of human-controlled space like a massive hive, full of life and noise. Ships of all shapes and sizes docked at its ports, unloading goods, passengers, and traders from countless worlds. Neon lights flickered along its corridors, casting a constant glow on the worn metal floors. People and aliens bustled through the walkways, each focused on their own tasks, most of them too busy or too indifferent to notice the smaller, quieter lives unfolding at the edges of the station. In one of the less traveled sectors, a small alien girl crouched behind a pile of scrap machinery. Her name was Lyra, and her skin shimmered faintly, almost like soft light under the layers of grime that covered her body. Her hair was tangled and matted, and her clothes hung in tatters. She had survived for weeks by scavenging discarded parts and scraps of food from the industrial areas of the station. Most of the aliens here whispered when they saw her. Some avoided her entirely, and others made cruel jokes that floated on the recycled air, never spoken to her face. Lyra had long stopped reacting. She had learned to survive by keeping invisible as much as possible. Despite her rough exterior, Lyra was observant and intelligent. She could understand mechanical systems almost instinctively, and had an eye for finding value in what others discarded. But no one had ever given her a chance to show her skill. No one had given her respect. Most had only given her coldness and fear. One day, as she scuttled past a line of transport drones, a new presence caught her attention. A human, a tall man with a calm but confident demeanor, was walking through the sector. His uniform marked him as a captain, and there was something about the way he moved, purposeful but not aggressive, that made him different from the usual hurried traders. He paused for a moment, scanning the area, and then his eyes landed on her. Lyra froze. Humans were rare in this part of the station. Many aliens distrusted them, and some considered them unpredictable. She tried to back away into the shadows, but the man stepped closer, speaking softly. "Hey, are you okay?" His voice was calm, kind, unlike the harsh tones she had grown used to. He extended a hand, holding a small packet of food. "Here, I think you might need this." Lyra's instinct screamed at her to run. Trust had never been an option for her, but hunger had been gnawing at her for days, and something in the man's posture told her he would not harm her. After a tense pause, she stepped forward and took the food with trembling fingers. She glanced at him, her luminous eyes flickering nervously. Why are you helping me?" she asked, her voice hoarse and quiet. The human smiled gently. "Everyone deserves help sometimes. I don't care what others think of you. I just want to make sure you're safe." Lyra was startled. She had never heard anyone say such words without judgment or hidden motives. It was strange, almost unbelievable. She took a careful bite of the food, letting the warmth fill her stomach and calm her nerves. The human, his name was Captain Alex Renner, sat nearby, not crowding her, giving her space to eat and regain her strength. Over the next few days, Alex returned several times, always with small gifts of food, clean water, or useful tools he had found or purchased. Each time, Lyra grew a little more comfortable around him. She began speaking more freely, explaining how she survived and what she had learned about machinery and tech through scavenging. Alex listened with interest, asking questions that encouraged her to think deeper and to explain her methods. He treated her like an equal, never condescending, never acting as if she was less than anyone else. One afternoon, Alex found Lyra sitting by a broken-down service droid she had tried to repair. Sparks flew from its damaged circuits, and she frowned, frustrated at her failure. "I'll never get this right," she muttered. Alex knelt beside her, observing her work. "Maybe you just need a new approach," he suggested. He handed her a few tools she hadn't considered using, and showed her a technique for stabilizing the circuits. Lyra's eyes lit up with understanding, and within an hour the droid hummed to life. You helped me fix it," she said in disbelief, stepping back to watch it move. For the first time, pride replaced the usual fear and self-doubt that shadowed her life. Alex shrugged modestly. "You did most of the work. I just showed you a way to see it differently." Word of Lyra's growing skills began to spread slowly through the sector. At first it was whispered behind her back, mostly by those who still feared or disliked her. But when the broken-down droid suddenly became useful again, people began to take notice. Some aliens approached with cautious curiosity, asking small questions about her methods. Lyra was shy at first, uncertain if she could trust anyone other than Alex. But with his encouragement, she started answering, sharing her knowledge with patience and care. Despite the slow progress, Not everyone was welcoming. One morning, a group of aliens surrounded her, their voices harsh and mocking. "You think you're special now, don't you?" One of them sneered. "Filthy scavenger with glowing skin. No one cares about you." Lyra's first instinct was to shrink back into the shadows, to disappear like she always did. But Alex was there, standing a few steps behind her, calm and composed. "Stop," he said firmly. "She's done nothing to harm you. She deserves the same respect any of us deserves." His voice carried authority, but not anger. The aliens paused, uncertain how to respond. Alex continued, "You see her as different, but she has skills you cannot match, and she has courage you might never know. Judging her for appearances is your choice, but it does not define her." There was tension in the air. A moment stretched where it seemed the confrontation could erupt. Then slowly the group dispersed, muttering under their breath, leaving Lyra and Alex alone. Lyra's heart pounded with adrenaline and relief. She looked at Alex, feeling gratitude that went beyond words. "Thank you for defending me," she whispered. "You don't need to thank me," Alex said. "You just need to keep being yourself. That's more powerful than any words I could use." From that day on, Lyra began to change in more ways than one. She cleaned herself as best she could, washing away the grime that had marked her as an outcast. Her hair, though still a bit tangled, shone under the lights of the station, and her bioluminescent skin glimmered faintly, reflecting her growing confidence and renewed sense of self-worth. Alex helped her find spare clothes from the station's surplus, and for the first time, she felt like she had a place where she belonged. But even as she improved her appearance, the station was not ready to fully accept her. Some continued to stare, to whisper, to doubt her abilities. Yet Lyra noticed a subtle shift in how she was perceived. When she helped repair machinery in the market or guided traders to fix their equipment, the appreciative nods and cautious smiles began to outweigh the whispers. Her skills were undeniable, and slowly, so was her dignity. One afternoon, a minor accident occurred in the industrial sector. A malfunctioning crane dropped a stack of crates, and one of the aliens nearby immediately pointed at Lyra. "She did it. That alien girl caused this." The crowd began to gather, voices rising with accusations. Lyra froze, panic threatening to take over. She had learned long ago that being alone meant vulnerability. But this time Alex stepped forward. "Everyone, calm down," he said loudly, projecting authority without aggression. Lyra had nothing to do with this. "Watch the footage," he added, pointing to a nearby terminal that recorded the sector's operations. The recording showed clearly that the malfunction was mechanical, not caused by Lyra. The crowd murmured, some reluctantly lowering their voices. Alex turned to Lyra. "See? People can believe what they want, but truth doesn't change. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone who refuses to see you clearly." Lyra felt a wave of relief and a strange sense of empowerment. For the first time, someone stood beside her, not just as a helper, but as a witness to her truth. She realized that dignity was not something given by others. It was something she could carry within herself, amplified by someone willing to see it. Days turned into weeks, and Lyra continued her growth. She became more confident in approaching others, offering help and sharing her knowledge. Alex remained by her side, guiding, encouraging, and teaching her. Together they repaired old machinery, innovated new solutions, and slowly reshaped the perception of a girl once dismissed as filthy and unworthy. By the end of the first part of her journey, Lyra stood on a small platform overlooking the busy corridor of the station. Her skin glowed softly in patterns of pale light, reflecting her newfound self-respect. The whispers had lessened, and a few aliens even smiled at her now. She had taken her first real steps out of the shadows, not just surviving but beginning to thrive. And with Alex's steady support, she understood that her story was no longer one of avoidance and fear. It was a story of hope, warmth, and the dignity every being deserved. Weeks passed since Lyra first began to step out of the shadows. Life on Narita 7 was still noisy, still chaotic, but she no longer felt invisible. She had a routine now. Mornings spent scavenging useful parts, afternoons working with Alex in his small workshop, and evenings repairing or inventing devices for aliens who once would have ignored her entirely. Her bioluminescent skin had grown brighter, a reflection of the pride and confidence she carried within herself. The station, however, was slow to change. Some of the older, more stubborn aliens still whispered or stared. They didn't understand how someone who had lived in dirt and grime could suddenly command respect through skill alone. But Lyra refused to let their opinions define her. She focused on her work, on each repair, each invention, and on the small victories that reminded her she was more than the labels others had given her. One morning, Alex arrived at the workshop with a shipment of parts for a client. He noticed Lyra standing beside a half-repaired propulsion unit, her eyes scanning the components carefully. "Morning, Lyra," he said with a smile. "Ready to show them how good you've become?" Lyra looked up, her lips curling into a small smile. "I think so," she replied. She felt the flutter of nerves, but it was different now. It was anticipation, not fear. Alex had helped her see that courage wasn't the absence of fear, but the choice to act in spite of it. Their first client was a merchant from a nearby planet, arriving with a shuttle that had a faulty energy core. Normally, such work would have been assigned to seasoned engineers, but word of Lyra's talent had spread. The merchant, a tall alien with segmented limbs, eyed her skeptically. "You are the one who will fix my shuttle?" he asked, his tone sharp. Lyra nodded, hiding her apprehension. "Yes, I can handle it," she said confidently. Alex stepped back, giving her space. She opened the core, her hands moving carefully and deliberately over the delicate machinery. Sparks flickered, circuits hummed, and after an hour of steady work, the core glowed steadily, perfectly balanced and efficient. The merchant stared at the repaired shuttle, speechless at first. Then he nodded slowly, a small smile forming. "Impressive," he said simply. "I didn't expect this from you." Lyra's cheeks flushed, but not from embarrassment. She felt a sense of pride that went deeper than words could express. It was not just her skill being recognized, it was her worth as a being. As the shuttle departed, whispers among the nearby aliens grew. They were noticing that Lyra, once avoided and dismissed, was becoming indispensable. She had skill, intelligence, and now the courage to show it. Some were curious, others reluctant. But a few began to approach her for help with repairs or advice. The first small cracks in the wall of prejudice had begun to show. One afternoon, as Lyra worked on a complex energy grid, a commotion erupted outside the workshop. A group of xenophobic traders had arrived, their leader stepping forward with a sneer. "We heard about the human helping this alien," he said, waving a clawed hand toward Lyra. "We won't allow it to continue. She's changing the station too much, and we don't like change from outsiders." Lyra froze, unsure of what to do. The traders were known for causing trouble, often intimidating anyone who challenged them. But Alex stepped forward, calm and collected. "You are entitled to your opinion, but you will not harm her," he said firmly. The traders laughed, confident that a single human could not stop them. Lyra realized that the moment had come to act, not just for herself, but for all the small victories she had earned. She studied the energy grid she had been repairing, formulating a plan. With a sudden movement, she activated a fail-safe system she had installed earlier. Electrical barriers rose along the perimeter of the workshop, harmless but startling. Sparks danced across the panels and a low hum filled the air. The traders jumped back, wary. "This is my workspace," Lyra said, her voice steady. "You will not disrupt it. You can leave peacefully or face the consequences." She had never spoken so firmly before, but the combination of her words and the controlled power in the workshop made the traders hesitate. Alex stood by her side, ready if things escalated, but he did not need to intervene. The traders, realizing the risk of confrontation, muttered threats and left. When the air cleared, Lyra felt a rush of exhilaration. She had faced danger and held her ground. Alex smiled, pride evident in his eyes. "That's how you earn respect," he said. Lyra nodded, understanding that respect was not given freely. It was earned through skill, courage, and the integrity to stand up for oneself. The next weeks were filled with small victories. Aliens who had once ignored her now sought her help. She repaired failing systems, taught younger aliens about machinery, and innovated solutions that saved time and resources for the station. The whispers of doubt faded, replaced by murmurs of admiration. Lyra had become more than a survivor. She had become a contributor, an innovator, a symbol of what could happen when someone was given a chance. A pivotal moment came when the station council announced a public demonstration of technological skill. Aliens from across Narita 7 would attend, showcasing innovations, repairs, and inventions. At first, Lyra was hesitant. Public attention was intimidating, and the council's event was formal and scrutinized. But Alex encouraged her. "You have nothing to fear," he said. "This is your chance to show everyone not just what you can do, but who you are." On the day of the demonstration, Lyra's hands shook slightly as she entered the large hall. Rows of species from different planets filled the seats. Vendors, engineers, traders, all watched curiously as the filthy alien girl prepared her presentation. She had set up a complex system of machinery, integrating energy flow, transportation, and repair functions into a single demonstration. When the council president called for her presentation, Lyra took a deep breath. She explained each part of the system, demonstrating how it worked, showing the logic behind every repair and connection. Sparks flew in a controlled display, screens flickered with energy graphs, and moving parts whirred smoothly. The audience watched, captivated. By the time she finished, there was a moment of stunned silence. Then slowly, applause began, growing louder and louder until the hall echoed with recognition. Aliens who had once ignored or mocked her now stood clapping and cheering. Some came forward asking questions, seeking guidance, wanting to learn from her. Lyra felt a warmth unlike anything she had known. Acceptance, respect, and dignity, earned not by appearances, but by her intelligence, skill, and courage. Alex watched from the side, a proud smile on his face. He had believed in her from the start, seeing beyond the grime and fear to the person she could become. Now the rest of the station was beginning to see it too. After the event, Lyra walked through the corridors of Narita 7 differently than before. She no longer felt invisible. Aliens greeted her politely, some with admiration, others with cautious curiosity. She had transformed, not just in appearance but in essence. She was no longer the filthy alien girl. She was Lyra, a skilled, confident, and respected member of the community. As evening fell, she returned to the workshop where Alex waited. He handed her a small device, a gift for her hard work. "You've earned it," he said simply. Lyra took it, her bioluminescent skin glowing softly, reflecting the pride and happiness she felt. I never imagined this could happen," she said quietly. "I never thought anyone would care about me or even see me as more than nothing." Alex shook his head. "It wasn't about imagining, Lyra. It was about giving someone a chance. And you took it. You made the choice to grow, to learn, and to stand up for yourself. That's why this happened." Lyra smiled, a real smile that reached her eyes. She had learned that dignity and respect were not given by others. They were reflected in the way one carried oneself and the courage to rise above fear and prejudice. With Alex by her side, she knew she could face anything the station or the universe might throw at her. In the weeks that followed, Lyra's reputation continued to grow. She became a mentor to other young aliens, sharing her knowledge of mechanics, energy systems, and creative problem-solving. She inspired them to believe in themselves even when others doubted them. Slowly, the station itself began to change. Aliens who had once avoided the strange and unkempt now paused to see what they could learn. The walls of fear and prejudice were breaking down brick by brick, one small act of courage at a time. Lyra's life had transformed completely. She had gone from a lonely scavenger, dismissed and avoided, to a confident and respected inventor. She had friends now, a place to belong, and the knowledge that someone had seen her for who she truly was. And as she looked out over the bustling station, her bioluminescent glow bright against the neon lights, she realized that hope, warmth, and dignity were not distant dreams. They were within reach for anyone willing to believe in themselves, and for those willing to extend a hand to others. Lyra turned to Alex, gratitude shining in her eyes. "Thank you for giving me a chance," she said softly. Alex smiled, as he always did. "No, Lyra. Thank you for showing everyone the power of courage and skill. You earned this, not me, not anyone else." The station hummed around them, full of life, full of stories, but Lyra knew her journey was only the beginning. With warmth, dignity, and the support of those who believed in her, she could face any challenge, overcome any obstacle, and shine brightly, no matter